A huge surprise in the NFL has occurred here, and it is with the Los Angeles Chargers. Although they were Super Bowl champions the following year, there was a disagreement between the owner in Spanos and Xavier Klein. With this dispute, Xavier Klein has decided to step down and retire as an NFL coach. What will happen now to the Xavier Klein legacy? Although Xavier Klein had a short stint in the NFL, it was quite successful, being able to get the Los Angeles Chargers their first Super Bowl win. Xavier Klein has taught his son, XK Jr., a little bit about his time in the NFL and provided him some guidance as he would like to pursue an opportunity to be a coach in the NFL. Throughout the next 10 years, we see franchises now begin to change and evolve into something new. The Jaguars are no longer in Jacksonville, but a new owner has taken them on to become the Orlando Wizards. The Arizona Cardinals leave the great desert state and move back to a historical city in St. Louis to become the Blues. The Bills have a dispute with the city of Buffalo and have decided to head north to become the Toronto Snowhawks. Tepper with the Carolina Panthers are no longer, as they have moved the franchise to Austin to be the Armadillos. The Cleveland Browns are no longer in the great city of Cleveland, but have moved to the Hall of Fame city of Canton, Ohio to become the Aviators. The Washington Commanders are no longer there, as it looks like Canada has taken another team, and they are now the Montreal Monarchs. The Chargers are no longer in Los Angeles. Spanos has sold his franchise, and this group is now back in San Diego as the Sentinels. Another team has sold their franchise, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With that sell comes an owner that is very familiar with building a franchise, and that is Jack Klein. He currently owns the Los Angeles Angels, and now he has purchased a new franchise in a different sport. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will now become the Salt Lake City Elks. Moving this team to a smaller market hopefully will draw in a more hardcore base. But with this change, Jack Klein has decided to hire his nephew, Xavier Klein Jr. Welcome to a new chapter here in this series. As Xavier Klein has passed the torch to his son, he will hope to build a successful franchise in the NFL. Let's go Elks! All right, everybody, welcome back to the Xavier Klein Jr. series here on Madden 24. We are now in the year, or heading into the year 2035. The seasons have passed up. Xavier Klein is no longer in the NFL. And as we look at the rest of this team here, most of the NFL players that you have witnessed throughout the last previous seasons are also no longer in the NFL. So this is a chance to truly build this thing from scratch. This is a brand new franchise in this universe, the Salt Lake City Elk. As we stated earlier, there are a couple new teams now that have taken over previous franchises, and we're going to be doing the same here in Salt Lake City. So we'll be in the same division as the NFC South, but we will be a brand new squad. Now, how we're doing it this year is we will actually, as you can see right there in the roster count, we have 0 players on the roster. And the goal is to build this team from the bottom up. We're going to build it from scratch. We're going to take it over, and we're going to see if we can do this thing over time. The challenge is there. And because we don't know any of the players, or most of the players that are still in the NFL are quite older and, you know, well past their prime, this is our chance to really just focus on how to make this team good without focusing on the big name or the famous name. Now, how you do that, just a heads up here, if you're ever trying to figure out, okay, how do I start over from scratch, or how do I ensure like I have 0 players on the roster without impacting the cap, right? Because that's one of the things that ends up happening with a lot of teams, is that if you just cut everybody, then you deal with the cap issue. What I was able to do on this end is start the situation from scratch by putting everybody. So I went over to salaries. It just won't show it because there's no one on my roster right now. But what you do is you go to salaries and you put everybody on their last year of their contract. And if you do that and you get to the end of the year, then you just don't re-sign anybody, and everyone will fall off. So that way they're on the last year of the contract. It doesn't impact your cap hits in any way, and you get a chance to just build your team with 0 players on there. Now, what's the rules on how we're going to build this team, right? Because we can go to the free agents and snag up every 99 players since we got money and just kind of do that and just be done with it. But I actually set up rules, right? Since we're a brand new franchise, we're trying to build something here. We have to think about how to set up a base. So the rules are going to be set up to where we're going to be focusing on scheme fit. When you look at our team, you have to make sure that you focus on having a best scheme fit. So what we're trying to focus on is having at least 85% of both sides of the field fit the scheme. Currently right now, we are leveraging a offensive and defensive scheme of West Coast zone run and the disguise 3-4. We're also going to be looking at the Los Angeles Rams offensive playbook and the Miami Dolphins defensive playbook. So it's a disguise 3-4 with the West Coast run. So we have to make sure that we do hit that 85%. Now, why did I pick Sean McVay? Well, here's another thing to know. If you ever want to bring on additional coaches, like coaches that are famous, right? Head coaches, and you want to make them a coordinator, you could do so by starting after the Super Bowl. So as soon as the Super Bowl's over, there will be certain coaches that are fired or there, and you can actually hire head coaches, and they'll be designated as such to be a head coach, and you can actually sign them to be offensive or defensive coordinators. Now, by doing so, their branches and stuff, their skill trees or whatever, talent trees, are on the head coaching job. So once you move them to defensive or offensive coordinator, they will start over at 0. So that's the challenge there, building up this staff, getting them stronger, and kind of working through that. I did pick the whatever coach and whatever talent they had. I really didn't care. It was more about making sure they fit the scheme that I was trying to do. He's a disguise. He's a 3-4 storm, but we're going to be using a 3-4 disguise that fits more of the Miami defense. So, yeah, so that's where we're at with it regarding the scheme. So you must have 85%. As far as free agents are concerned, here's how we're doing it. I cannot, in year 1, I cannot pick a player that is higher than a 75 overall. I can pick anybody else below that, but it cannot be higher than a 75 in year 1. And this includes signing free agents and trading for players. I can only trade up into that limit that I have. So in year 1, it's 75. It goes up 2 points there. In year 2, 77. Year 3 is 79. Year 4 is 81. And year 5, anything goes. By that point, the universe is being built out, and now it's about just picking who you want. For the first year, I'm going to have 10 free agents, potential free agent contracts to be assigned per evaluation period in the first 2 stages. So I can get up to 60 players by the time stage 2 is done if I wanted to. And then stage 3 is unlimited. When it comes to the drafting, I am going to be focusing on how I would draft. So the first 3 rounds to me are best player available. It's about picking the best talent that you feel is out there and ensuring that they can benefit your team. If they're a scheme fit, great. But if they're not, the hope is that they grow into a scheme fit, because once you're more of a scheme fit, you get more XP, and there's better chemistry in that situation. Between round 4 through 7, they must be a scheme fit. So a lot of times when you look at the game, right, you look at things that are scheme fit, but they just have to fit something. So for example, You know, the left outside linebacker in this scheme here is a power rusher. If I were to find a right outside linebacker in the draft that is a power rusher instead of a speed rusher, according to my scheme, I just know as soon as I draft him, I'm going to move him to left outside linebacker and they'd be a scheme fit. So when it comes to drafting players in the 4th and 7th round, I have to ensure that they will be a scheme fit for the team. Now, why do I do that? Well, realistically, when you look at the first 3 rounds, they tend to be just really good at what they're supposed to do. They tend to be what's called like NFL ready. A lot of times that's how they kind of look at it. Like, oh, this guy's NFL ready. You could put him on the starting lineup. You could put him up there. He could be a part of the 53. He could be a main part, and he's going to do what he needs to do. He's going to do exactly what we want him to do on our team, and we don't have to worry about the learning curve. The later rounds tend to have a learning curve. So usually when a team will draft a player in the later rounds, 4 through 7, you're trying to find somebody that can adapt to what you're trying to teach them and fit your vision of your team. So by them being a scheme fit, they get better XP in Madden. They will move a little quicker in growth. So they may not start, or some may start and they'll grow faster and be able to mesh and assimilate to your team a little quicker. So that's what I'm doing. So draft picks 1 through 3, BPA. Scheme fits will be required in rounds 4 through 7. So those are the restrictions I am putting on myself when I'm starting this franchise. I think it's going to be fun. What's kind of neat here is, as you can see, the Armadillos are currently in my division, and the Armadillos were the former Carolina Panthers. And this team, this universe here has gone through quite a bit. When you go to retirements, you see a lot of players here that everyone has watched throughout, the last couple of years. Trevor Lawrence, he ended up going to leaving Jacksonville and going to the Titans. He played for 14 years and retired. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was he was a Lion, and then he moved to the Seahawks and retired at 14 years. Olave played with the Saints all 13 years. Garrett Wilson was a Jet at one point, and now it looks like he went to the Washington Commanders, former franchise that are now the Montreal Monarchs. Devin Witherspoon was a Seahawk, now ends up retiring as a Jet. Creed Humphrey and Penei Sewell were Giants when they retired, which is kind of crazy. Puka went to the freaking Niners. So a lot of players here. Jalen Hurts went to the Chiefs, dude. It's kind of wild. I think Pat Mahomes is on the Colts in this universe now. So a lot of players have retired over time. And I think that's neat. We get a chance to see how some of these guys work and how we're going to succeed, and we're going to have to build these teams up without the knowledge of the names. Some players, depending on what's out there, I may pick them up just to, it helps me out from a name standpoint. But I think a lot of these guys that I know that are currently in the NFL are probably going to be more mentor focused. So we'll probably blend them in. As you can see, even OCs and DCs retired. Peyton ended up retiring as an OC for the Canton Aviators. And that's kind of crazy right there. So even the CPU is picking up coaches and stuff, to head coaches to be coordinators. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and start looking through these players here. As you can see, when you go through these things, you're going to see some big names, right? Brock Purdy, 35 years old. He is a star dev. Joe Burrow, 38 years old, still in the NFL. Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson. And then you got some other dudes. Justin Herbert's here. Lamar Jackson is here. You got Jordan Love, Bryce Young. So all these guys are well in their 30s now, trying to make it work. Now, like I said, I can only go after OVRs that are at least a 75. And we'll kind of work through it from there. I think it's kind of neat to see how some of these guys have been, though, right? Running backs, a lot of them are retired. Jordan Brooks, 31 now. He was one of the first draft classes that we had. He's in there still trying to make it work. When it comes to wide receivers, Jordan Addison, 33 years old, trying to keep his career going. They got some dudes here. George Pickens, 34. Isn't that crazy? When you see some of these guys, you're like, what the heck? So we're going to make it work, and I will talk about my evaluations when it's all said and done. We'll talk through the players that I selected after each stage, and then we'll talk about the players as a whole prior to us setting up for the draft. So we'll be right back, and like I said, we'll talk through who we end up signing after each stage. So it looks like we're able to get some signings here after the first stage. We snagged up a wide receiver in Aaron Wall. Now, why did I pick Aaron Wall? He's 6'1", 215, 28 years old, so I like the fact that he's a little older. Of course, he's a scheme fit. 90 speed, 92 acceleration, 78 catching. So he's kind of like that all-around guy that I hope can kind of make it work for us. Playmakers tend to be pretty solid archetype here in Madden. So Aaron Wall is the first pick that ended up getting signing. I went after a kicker here. The reason why I snagged up this guy is that he's a 73 overall, but he's got 95 kick power, 79 accuracy, so at least he can boot it. And I think that's a decent starting point for us there. I wanted to find a corner here in the first evaluation period, and I found one in Steven Springs. 90 speed, 94 acceleration, 89 man coverage. Of course, he's a scheme fit here. He's got 70, looks like 72 awareness, but he's more of a 69 awareness. And I think, it's a decent starting point for us, but at 27 years old, we can lean on that. I found a middle linebacker that was a scheme fit here, and he's got decent speed from the get, good zone coverage. So I think this is a very good player for us to have, kind of running that captain, having the mic there. We also went after a left end here in Luke Shields, scheme fit power rusher, 72 overall, 82 power move, so that's a good starting point for us. 85 strength, I can work with that. And I think at 20, again, these guys are in their mid to late 20s. They kind of help us out. I did grab a quarterback here in Nick Tyson. Been in the NFL now for 4 years or 5 years, because they count rookie as year 0. So been in the NFL for 5 years. He's a field general, so he's a scheme fit. Throw power isn't incredible, but what I like though is that his short accuracy is there and his medium accuracy is decent. Play action works out for us, so we can kind of get that going. But I'm trying to find someone who could potentially compete, with maybe some other guys that we bring onto the roster. I found another wide receiver here in Carl McDonald. He's only been in the NFL for 2 years, and he's got some decent starts, 69 release, so we can get him there. He's more of a deep route runner with his crazy speed and acceleration, 93, 94 there. So again, you can make it work. He hopefully could be maybe that Xavier Worthy that we had in the initial part of that series. And then we were able to sign an 8th player here, free safety, Tyrell Flynn. Good speed, great acceleration, good man coverage, and his hit power is there. So I need someone to play center field that can kind of work out. At 5'11", 214, I think he can be a thumper out there in center field. So we were able to get 8 players in their first eval period. We'll set up and get ready to go and get it going for the second eval period. So we'll talk through that in just a moment. So before we get to the draft, I went ahead and got us to the point of having 63 players on our roster. Since we won't know technically who's going to make this team, I'm going to break it down per position. So I kind of initiated some of the players we signed in the first stage, parts of the second stage, but really we're going to break it down here. So there's going to be 3 quarterbacks currently on the roster. Who knows what happens in the draft? Maybe we draft another one, but this is what we're initially getting. We've invested probably in guaranteed money closer to about a little over $7 million. Not a whole lot of investment there, but it's initially starting of a franchise, and you just got to figure out how it all works. We have Nick Tyson here, who's 25 years old. I think for him, his throw power is kind of weak, but he's got some decent abilities that can really set us up. We have a good veteran in Sam Howell, who is that mentor card, so he can teach these guys how to roll. But I snagged up a player here in the later stages of stage 2 that has some really good pieces. 92 throw power, deep is a little lower at 78, but all the other pieces there are green. So the way I look at it is Frank Bowles could have a shot at really getting it done. I'm kind of shocked and surprised he didn't make a team. It looks like here he was drafted in the second round, late second round, and he ended up only playing for 2 years. Oh, looks like he was like in 32, might have gotten injured in 33, and then 34, and then he got cut by the time before his first rookie contract ended. So kind of crazy there. Running backs, I have 4 on the roster. The later guy that ended up snagging up was Terrence Wilson, 28 years old, 7 years in the NFL. He's a bigger guy, 5'9", 200 pounds, so short, but he's stockier. He fits the scheme, 91 speed, decent trucking, break tackle, but his change of directions there. He could maybe be that 2-down back for us, but there's going to be some comp there. He's a little older of a running back, but I'm cool with that. You know, we invested a little bit more money in the running back spot, but you got to get a good base to figure out how it's all going to work out. Cassius Colefield, what we talked about, because he's that receiving back there, I think he'd be decent. And then I picked up a late round, like a lower OVR guy in Josh Mitchell, 5'10", 212, a little bigger. He is a scheme fit, decent speed, change of direction there, ball carry coverage. So he has some injury concerns with his toughness, but I think, again, I want to see if I can get these guys some competition heading into this upcoming preseason. And we still got to deal with the draft picks too. I found a fullback that was a scheme fit for us, but the main reason, this dude's built like a freaking linebacker. 6'1", 244 pounds, 24 years old. Been in the NFL for 3 years. Fullbacks are like a dying breed in the NFL. I think they're starting to come back though, because, you know, as much as people start to go heavy in the pass game, you want to have a little more control as you get further into the season, and having a good running game can help with that. And I think we got something here in Rob Eppard. Young guy though, young fullback. Wide receiver, we invested quite a bit there. Not a whole ton when it comes to one initial player, but I think we have a good base. I found some guys with some decent speeds like Shaq Cook, Lance Nickerson, Carl McDougald, Brian Spillman. This is a guy right here. I picked him up. Yeah, I picked him up. This is the guy I was going to move. So Deshaun Talley, he is 6'3", 221. His speed and stuff aren't that great, but the main reason why I did this is at 6'3", 221, I think he has the potential to compete in the tight end group. So we're going to let him rock over there in the tight end spot, kind of move him around and see what we can do, but that's why I brought that guy there. Brought some more veterans. One in particular here is Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. Been in the NFL for 12 years, and he doesn't look like he's slowed down at all. 32 years old. He's still got some incredible abilities there. And he was with Tennessee his entire career until this last, where the Titans were like, hey, we can't spend money on him. We got to let him go. I'm really happy that we snagged him up. It's a good veteran to have on the team to kind of help out the youth there. So, Brian Thomas is definitely there. As you can see, I found, some vets or little older guys in a couple different key spots. I thought that was important, and I did not shy away from doing that here in the tight end group. I have 6 tight ends on the roster, one of which like you just saw, I brought over right in Deshaun Talley. Tried to check him out here at tight end, see what he can do. Based on what I'm seeing here, I may end up having to move him back, but we brought in a guy like Chuck Carroll there, Braden Anderson, Nicholas Young. He's not a scheme fit, but at 6'6", 256 pounds, I thought he had some good run blocking ability there, 77 run block, and sometimes you need some tight ends just to do that. And then I brought in a veteran, Sean Laporta. Sean Laporta, 13 years in the NFL, 34 years old. This is like our own Travis Kelce basically here. And the way I look at it with him, he played his entire career in Detroit. This guy knows what winning is like. And I really like having good veterans at some key positions there. But Deshaun Talley, I got to figure that out. We'll try him out in some spots, but if it doesn't work out, we'll move him over to wide receiver or whatever. The tackle or the offensive line situation here, I wanted guys that were scheme fits at the left tackle spot. I think Spencer Blackwell is going to be okay, but we got a good backup that can also learn some things in David Gates. Left guard, little younger as well, as you can see there. So I'm trying to develop them over time here, and they're a little younger. Bo Limmer is going to be the mentor for Dalton O'Neill. Right guard, Bryce Graham. That's the freaking steal that we found in both these guys. Michael Merritt and Bryce Graham. No cap penalties at all to bring those guys in. Right tackle, I brought in 2 vets. Eric Bayless, comes from the Chargers franchise there. I was pretty excited to grab him. And then we found another guy in DeJuan Jones. Little lower OVR, but good awareness from where he's at. Still pretty freaking strong as hell. So I like having some veterans on the whole line. Left end, I found some guys between 25 and 27 years old. You got Carl Killings here, 6'3", 274. Main focus on is the power move. And I got some pretty strong power move across the board there. So I think these guys can eat. When you look at the right end, we found some other big guys. 6'3", 300, Brandon Baskerville. You got Kendall Blake, 6'6", 266. Big dude there. With the 80 power move. And then Chris Noel, 25 years old, 6'5", 273. The defensive tackle, I got 4 on the line, all between 26 and 28 years old, but they're big. 6'3", 307, 6'2", 317, 6'3", 311, 6'5", 313. All big dogs, all strong as hell. No one's weaker than 90. Power move isn't the crazy. This is the part that I wanted. Block shed, 85, 82, 83, 76. Big dogs, man. I'm hoping they can continue to stuff the run. In the linebacker spot, you got Trayvon Walker here, former Jaguar. What I like about him, been in the NFL for 14 years. Dude has a motor, 88 speed, 93 acceleration with some decent abilities there, 76 block shed. So I like what he can do as a vet, and I picked up Chris Baskett, who I think could really learn a lot from Trayvon Walker. Middle linebacker spot, we got Burke and Quincy, but I picked up a former Charger here. This is the guy we snagged up in the 2025 season before things advanced. He's a good veteran. I think he's still got some decent abilities, man. 85 hit power, 90 acceleration, 89 play rec. This is a guy that could still do work. When he was with the Chargers, he never left after we snagged him up. So he was with Cleveland, as you can see there, that turned into the Canton Aviators. And then once we snagged him up, he never freaking left. And over 115 tackles. He had 115 tackles in his last year at his age, and everywhere else he was balling freaking out. So I think JLK is a great mentor to have for the Salt Lake City Elk here in the middle linebacker spot, and I'm pretty happy to have him. Right outside linebacker, these are all speed guys here. I think the 6'3", 258, 6'2", 257, 6'3", 241, all good sizes, and hopefully they can make it work there. Corners, I spent a lot of money or a lot of volume in players here. All of them are pretty fast. There's an interesting guy here that's going to play slot. A 6'3", usually you would think you'd play in the outside, but I think he can play some pretty interesting things in the slot corner position. All of them are scheme fits, so I made sure to do that. The oldest guy is Mike Logan, but we'll see how it all plays out. 6'3", 200. That's a good stature right there to have. It's going to be a nice fight in the CB group. In the free safety role, I've picked up a mentor here in Javon Bullard. Been in the NFL for 12 years, still killing it, doing work. And then you're talking about, Tyrell Flynn was one of our first pickups. And then I picked up another vet in Andre Sisco. I wanted to have some good veterans in the safety group. Strong safety, Talanoa Hofanga, another good veteran there. And then I picked up Dean Waters. He's not a scheme fit, but what I liked about him is that he's got a decent ability to hit somebody in the mouth, 83 hit power. So 23 years old, he can learn from these guys, doesn't necessarily have to start. I got Dennis Middleton there, and I got Hufanga, so we'll kind of see how that works out. Kickers, Ted Anthony. I think he can do something okay. 1 year, we'll see what he can do, and then picked up an okay punter. So I'm excited for what we've done so far this year. This off season, and it's going to be really fun to move forward. As far as across the league, I definitely want to see where everyone went. Brock Purdy is going to be the quarterback for the Rams. He signs a 1-year deal. Joe Burrow is going to the Lions. You got Josh Allen going to the Packers. What a move there. Anthony Richardson going to the Austin Armadillos. So we'll get a chance to play against him twice a year. You got Andrew Farley going there too. So I wonder what the heck that's about, right? One guy gets a $16 million deal. I'm assuming he's going to be the mentor because you signed another guy here for a 3-year $61 million deal. I'm at 26 years old. I'm assuming Farley's going to take over and Richardson's just there to kind of hang out. San Diego State guy, my alumni. That's kind of cool. Lamar Jackson. Oh, he's going to the Bengals. That's insane right there. Herbert going to the St. Louis Blues. Joe Dixon. Man, Bryce Young's going to the Dolphins. And I don't think Jordan Love got signed. Whoa. Any crazy halfback situations here? Got some really good guys. Looks like the Austin Armadillos really snagged up some players. You got the Snowhawks getting some guys. Okay. Jordan Addison heading to the Ravens. Dante Bullard going to my Giants. That's pretty cool. Tight ends. These are some of the younger guys here, but look at, they got paid. They got the money. Tristan Wirfs still around, 36 years old, going to Austin. Levi Elling, Detroit Lions. Ika Makwanu. Whoa, man, all the guys went to the freaking Giants. Wow. Some interesting players there. Let's see here. Any good ones here? Hall. Anton Harrison still in the game, playing for the Titans. Yeah, they got, man, it's kind of neat. Oh, this is a former Charger. One of our first draft, earlier draft picks in the series there. He's still around. 81 overall, playing for the Jets. Now, Gerald Bonds, he was starting to find himself. Oh, wow. So he was with the Chargers 1, 2, 3, 4, B4. And then the Chargers didn't extend him. He ends up going to Miami. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years he was with Miami. Had a really good start too. He had double-digit sack season. Man, Gerald Bonds. I was looking, if he was a lower OVR, that would have been cool to bring him in. But defensive tackles, you got some older guys here. I like the fact that the series is that the CPU is taking into account these veterans. Although they're a little older, they got some good weight in them. Look at this. Aiden Hutchinson to the Patriots, dude. What the hell? 35 years old. It's like some of these teams are just like, we can't keep him any longer. And Aiden Hutchinson's now on the Patriots. He was with the Lions just like Laporta his entire career. And they had let him. Look at this dude. He had 18.5 sacks, 17.5. This guy was incredible. And he ended up last year with 12.5 and they still let him go? Oh my gosh. He looked, yeah, he's probably expensive, dude. Yeah, $25 million for 1 year. Everyone's probably got some cap issues. But man, oh man. Oh, there's a freaking, did I see that right? There's an X Factor out there that I didn't see. He was a 77. They got him. Look at the cheapness, dude. They got him for 1.78. That's 1.78 salary. $2.58 million. What? Wow, that would have been incredible. What a steal right there. Eagles doing work. Look at this guy. Ernest Archer. 3 years. Oh my gosh, 3 years, $71.8 million? At 31 years old? Seahawks are wild. Holy crap, who was the best corner? Josh Cox from going to the Bears. Yeah, he looks like he's got all the right stats. Surtain still in the game. 35 years old, rocking with the Eagles now. Quinion Mitchell. He's going to the Jets. I think he might have been drafted by the Jets in this series. Where did he? No, he was with Detroit the entire time. And Detroit let go 2 crazy vets, Quinion Mitchell and freaking Aiden Hutchinson. Kool-Aid McKinstry going to the Lions. I don't know. Was he on the Rams in this one? Might have been. No, he was with the Cardinals in this series. Stuck with them in his entire career. Kind of cool to see how some of these teams, stuck with some of these guys. for the long haul. Only one free safety was snagged up, and that was with the Jets. A lot of strong safeties snagged up, but that's a pretty good setup right there, man. Definitely looking forward to the next part here of this episode. We're going to be heading to the draft. I don't know any of these players. I don't know much of the stories, but we'll talk through on kind of how we're going to pick these guys up. Let's check out what the mocks are saying, everything right now. Number one overall pick are the Rams, who now have Brock Purdy. You got the Snowhawks there. Looking at a player, a defensive end. You got some tackles. Xavier Cash. What do they got? I guess the Elk, actually, the Buccaneers ended the season, their last franchise there, very well. Look at this. They got us going after a defensive lineman, Lance Klein. Whoa, that's pretty interesting. Right before us, looks like Jonathan Beard's going to the Dolphins in this mock. Interesting. Kind of neat. I like seeing like different logos out there too. We'll kind of see how that works out. Maybe we'll see some of these players in some of these stadiums along the way. But I am looking forward to this draft, and we'll talk about that just a little bit, and we'll talk through our board that we create. So regarding our draft board, I went ahead and looked through some of the prospects that I wanted to maybe potentially draft here. We have a total of 48 prospects on our roster, which includes a punter. The reason why I'm looking at this punter is that he's got a ridiculous setup here. It looks like his kick power is elite, and then I believe his skill with the accuracy and awareness is pretty high. So this could be a very nice prospect to grab on our last pick. But let's break it down as far as what we're looking at here, and we'll start with the defense first, right? So you saw that punter there. I don't think I have a kicker on my board. Strong safety. I am looking at a couple different strong safeties here. As you can see though, I do have my rule of first 3 rounds are going to be BPA. I could get somebody who is within my scheme fit, but I could take somebody within the first 3 rounds that aren't a scheme fit. I looked at somebody here in Geo Price that is a little smaller, but the dude is pretty good athletically all across the board. Good pursuit, good tackle. I like what I can get from that, and the hope that he can actually light somebody up too as far as hit power is concerned. The top strong safety I have on the board is Teron Choice. This guy is built like a freaking linebacker. He's just a little smaller. 5'10", 224 pounds. Dude is huge. Decent speed, great change of direction. This is a guy that I hope makes it to us in the second round, because if he does, I will probably take this guy pretty clearly. Now, we got a couple different strong safeties on our team, right? We got 3 strong safeties on the board, but I intentionally put players on my team that I feel that have to fight for a position. There are some spots where I'm probably cool with where they're at, but most of these positions, nothing is truly accounted for. So if this guy can fight and make it to the top and become our lead strong safety, dude, I'll be pretty pumped. Maybe we can move him to freaking free safety as well. The top free safety I have is not even a scheme fit, and that's Calvin Howard. This guy right here is 6'3", 219 pounds. A hit power. What I like about him is that he's got a solid change of direction. His strength is up there. So the way I look at it is this guy right here could be a nasty player, maybe down inside the box. So maybe we have him play a strong safety role. Maybe we go ahead and grab that other cat that's a strong safety and move him up to free safety and kind of go from there. But I think there's some really good prospects. On the corner position, we do have 7 corners on our team already. So the way I look at it is I want to make sure that I'm snagging players that are just a little different. The 2 corners that are within the first 2 rounds for me are zone, concept guys, archetype guys. 6'1", 184, little thinner, but again, he's got speed, 4.3 speed. Alex Stevens, 4.41. Good change of direction, strong, 25 reps. Like, this is the strongest corner, different type of guy. Then I look at the day 3 guys that are scheme fits. You're looking at speed again, 4.34, 4.33, day 3 guy. Change of direction's decent, but what we could do is we'll move Paul Malone because he's 181 pounds. This could be a very tall and lengthy, strong slot corner. Then Miles Weaver, I like him, 5'1", 5'11", 196, more of a true slot corner setup, but he's got a catching. So when I see something like that, it's like, okay, he's not the greatest of speed, can't really press, but, you know, this is a player that maybe we could put on the depth pieces, have him play special teams a little bit until he's ready to roll. But it's just a different kind of look, man. Like, I can't explain it. Like, his acceleration's pretty high there, but I can't explain it very well, but the way I look at it is like, this guy could be a nice little find. But those are the prospects I'm looking at in the corner position. I am looking at linebacker positions here. As you can see, all of them are pretty freaking freaks right here, man. Nigel Aldridge in the later rounds, 6'5", 244, 6'3", 243, and Julian Carruthers. Tyler Parsons from Georgia, 6'3", 238. But I am looking at Donovan Lucas as my top linebacker, right outside linebacker, 6'3", 242, speed rusher. He's got all the moves, decent athletic, good, great change of direction and great speed and elite acceleration. So when I see someone like Donovan Lucas, I'm like, man, we could take this guy, we could leverage him. And the right outside linebacker position, we got 3 linebackers there, but like I said, not everyone's guaranteed. The middle linebacker position to me is really freaking cool. There's some athletes here. I am liking, though, Dwight Stevens. He is a scheme fit. He's the athletic freak that could play special teams for us right now, and good change of direction. He could play behind JOK, and I think that would be cool for us to have a linebacker like him. No left outside linebackers. I am looking at some D tackles, as you can see, though, because of we have 4 defensive tackles already. I don't see myself trying to draft one too crazy, but if these guys happen to fall, I might take them. But there are some late guys here. 6'6", 313, 6'2", 360. Theo Little is kind of an intriguing prospect for me because he's a day 3 guy with B block shed, A tackle. He's big, he's strong, and he's an immovable object. So that's why I kind of look at it as like a guy who's going to be able to stuff the run in the interior. The right end group, most of the guys are day 3 cats. There's a UDFA that might be kind of interesting with the B power move there. His combine was trash. But I think that could be a nice piece. There is a run stopper in Calvin Philbin here, 6'4", 319, A block shed. This guy could potentially be a second round pick. If he falls to the 3rd, I wouldn't be upset about that as well. Another cat that I'm looking at is Carl Pitts from Alabama. He's 6'5", 272, B power move. What I like about him is that although he had a not so great combine, you know, that's somebody maybe we can look at in the 5th round or something. But, you know, it was really tough. I'd say this draft was not as great in a couple different areas. I am intrigued about James Randolph, though, because we have DeJuan Jones there, and we have Bayless, who is a right tackle as well, that came from the original series for us here in this universe. With the father, Xavier Klein, and they're just older. So I would love to bring in a prospect that can help him out and kind of roll from there. And the guy I'm looking at is James Randolph, 6'6", 305, A impact block, A awareness, B pass block. He's not going to be the strongest guy, but at 32 reps, that's still not bad. Everything else is ridiculous. Elite jump, elite change of direction, elite agility, great acceleration, great speed, solid strength. When I see things like this, man, with all the other attributes, A finesse, pass block finesse, you could potentially have A run block finesse, A awareness. This is a very high caliber O lineman that I'm willing to take and, you know, allow him to grow with those veterans in front of him. We looked at some guards here. Elijah Jones, Connor Greer, and Earl Autry all fit the scheme, and I think they could be a nice piece. We looked at a couple left guards here, maybe in the earlier rounds, day 2. That can kind of work out. There's a left tackle I was even looking at, and LaMarcus Myrick. He is 6'6", 335, A awareness, B run block, and he's the exact opposite as the other cat that we were looking at on the right side. This guy is stronger. Not as mobile. He might be a potential right tackle prospect as well, but 6'6", 335, that's a good weight. I only have one tight end on my roster. He fits with what we're trying to do in Charles Bullocks out of Notre Dame. He's got a run block, a catch in traffic, decent speed, strong. He's like a good all-around tackle. Now, what I didn't realize is I have 6 tight ends on my roster. So I don't necessarily have to get a tight end, but it is being looked at. When it comes to wide receivers, I'm looking for some physical wide receivers. Trevor Irving is an earlier round guy, but this is the guy I'd love to take here in round 2 or round 3. KC Warwick, 6'6", 234 pounds out of Texas. A, catching traffic, B, catching. His release can be B to D, not the greatest of deep route runner, but we can grow that. 4'5" is really good for his height and weight. He's pretty strong, can deal with the presses, and I think, he could be okay. Decent speed, but it is what it is. A change of direction, hopefully that equates to a better route runner. But those are the 2 prospects I'm looking at. Running back, at halfback, nothing. And then quarterback, there's only one guy, Clark Archer. He's a scrambler, 228 pounds, 22 years old. We got 3 quarterbacks on the roster right now. 2 of them are pretty young, and one's a veteran in Sam Howell. But A, under pressure, A, short accuracy, B, medium, and B, deep. Guy's pretty good, man. Elite strength. His throw power is good. He's got good change of direction, solid speed, great acceleration, great agility. So all of those match up. So I'm really excited about this draft. Nothing is going to determine how great we do until we start checking the games out. We will make sure to update the playbooks that we have, right? We're using the Rams offensive playbook and the Dolphins defensive playbook. So I'll make sure to update that offline. I will be doing the preseason offline as well. I don't think there's really anything necessary there that's going to intrigue anybody until we get to the regular season. And that's where we're going to go watch some of the games, depending on how it is, sim, move on, things like that. This is where I'm pretty pumped though, man. This is going to be really fun. But we got 63 players on the roster. Add another 7, that gets us to 70. Now it's time to roll. Los Angeles Rams are on the board. They are going to take Shamir Coleman out of Ohio State. We're just going to look at the first top 5 picks before we sim to us. The Snowhawks are up, and they're going to take right end Anthony Knox out of Nevada. Eagles, number 3 overall pick. They take Devon Long out of LSU. So a lot of defense here. There's a right tackle, Nick Sanchez, taken here from the Packers. And then the top 5 pick in this year's 2035 draft, the Titans take Travis Killings, considered a top 5 pick in this year's draft for sure. So let's go ahead and skip to our pick here. We're at pick 30. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers actually did good. Jonathan Beard taken here out of San Diego State right before us. That's kind of tough right there. Let's just see what's on our board right now. So we got a couple guys here, some D linemen that are at the top. Tyson Kinney, that's on our board, is ready to roll there. Calvin Howard. You got Jalen Wayne, Dominic Miles, Lamarcus Myrick's on this board. KC Warwick is on this board. It looks like the right tackle I wanted is probably taken. So the first pick of the Salt Lake City Elks is going to be a strong safety. Teron Choice, 22 years old, out of Miami, 5'10", 224 pounds. Welcome to the team, Teron Chase. Norm Dev, 88 speed, 89 change of direction, 90 acceleration. I can work with this. I can build this guy up, man. That is a clean player right there. Like I said, we gotta work with what we can get, and I think that's not a bad move for us. OVR might not be the greatest, but it is okay. We'll move on to the next pick, and I think we're gonna go ahead and grab an O-lineman. 6'3", 321 out of Auburn. Welcome to the team, Travis Davis. 87 strength. Not the greatest. Norm Dev again. Maybe that was a reach, but I got to be good with that. It's about continuing to bring in players here that we can kind of work through. Looks like we are heading into the third round. We always want to try to build our O-line. Yeah, this guy's actually pretty good right here. Elite agility, great change of direction. 21 years old out of South Carolina, 6'2", 329. Earl Autry is our third round pick. Norm Dev, can't be upset. Again, we're trying to work with the draft, build it out. This is us inheriting this team, right? We're building it from the bottom up, and not going to hit home runs. I've never played this deep into a Madden franchise before, 2035, so maybe everybody is freaking Norm Dev. You never know. I do want to look at the top safety that we have on our board in Terrence Hardesty, 5'11", 215. This guy is a freak of nature. I think this is a great find for us. 5'11", 215, so we now have a pair of safeties that can work in tandem with each other. I think this is cool. 90 speed, 91 acceleration, 85 change of direction. Love it. I love it, man. That's a nice play for us. We head to round number 5. Chad Ellison, 6'2", 303. Pretty freaking strong, pretty athletic across the board. I think we're going to go Chad Ellison, 6'2", 303 pounds. Wait, is he a scheme fit? He is. 22 years old out of Wake Forest. Welcome to the team. 5th round for the Elk. Chad Ellison. 90 speed. Guy is kind of, like I said, he's going to stuff the run, man. He's going to light you up. But this is a good move for the Elk here. We get to beef up the D-line and have them compete. We'll head to the next pick here. I think that's the play right there, right? The Rams are trying to give us 6 and a 7 next year. We take it. We get 2 picks, and we get to move out of the 6th round. And this is where we will hopefully get the player that I wanted. Is he on our board? He is. Welcome to the team, Tim Mooney. 6'5", 221 pounds. Big dude. 23 years old out of Rutgers. A, kick accuracy, A, awareness, and he's got the elite kick power. Love to see it. Welcome to the team, Tim Mooney, hidden dead, baby. Rocket number 99. That's what I wanted right there, man. We get the hidden dev on our last pick. And, like, we got another guy that doesn't have any cap hit on us, so if anything, I'll put him on the practice squad, but I think this is a good move for us. We get the guy that he's got a cheap contract at the end of it, and that's a good move for us. So I'm happy we did. We got 69 players on our roster. I might look at 6 more. We'll see what happens, but let's go ahead and recap and see where we stand here with the 2035 rookies. Teron Choice ends up being a 74 overall cat. Holy goodness. 88 speed, 89 acceleration, 74 zone coverage. This is a guy, depending on what I see, maybe we could move him in free safety. But learning with Hufanga too is not a bad idea as well. We ended up snagging up another cat here, O-lineman, Travis Davis, 73 overall. 90 impact block, 89 lead block. This is nice for us. He could potentially start. And then we're looking at Earl Autry, 73 overall, 21 years old. Again, another player that can grow 89 impact block, 76 lead block. This is a good piece right here for us. And he's got some injury issues. It is what it is there, but we can leverage him. Hardesty ends up being the tough luck here, but it was late in rounds. 68 overall, 90 speed, 94 acceleration, 64 zone coverage, 70 man coverage. Again, this is a guy I could work with. Maybe we could have him kind of mess around in the strong safety role. We grabbed a defensive tackle in Chad Ellison, who ends up being unfortunate there. 65 overall, 90 strength, 75 tackle. He's right on the cusp for power move, block shed, and finesse move. It's going to take some time, but again, we can work with that. And then we snagged up the dog, 75 overall, Tim Mooney. 97 kick power, 80 accuracy, 72 speed. Like, this guy could be the next great punter in the NFL. So I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it. Not a bad draft for us. When I think about, the rest of the league there, right? What did the Falcons do? They grabbed a 75 overall Lance Klein. This guy was on our board, and he was a hidden dev. No way, dude. Hidden dev. Are you kidding me? We could have had that. Oh, we could have had that. They ended up grabbing Geo Price instead. Just a 1 OVR lower than what we were. Johnny Madden. Not bad there. Let's see who else was on our division. I think the Armadillos. Who is it? The Buccaneers, Falcons, New Orleans Saints. So what did the Saints get? They grabbed a strong safety in Marcus Fulton. That was right before us. Ended up getting a good one there. Not a bad play. Oh, they grabbed Julian Carruthers. No! In the 3rd round, he had hidden dev. Oh my goodness. I gotta play that son of a bee twice a year now. And then the Armadillos grabbed one of the best. Alex Stevens, 77 overall. 94 speed, really good setup. He's a zone guy, so that's not a bad move for them. Braden Poindexter was next. I don't know. I got to find out. But that would be, that's the guy I think I probably should have taken a chance with. I think we did good, man. We got 69 players on our roster right now. If we were to go to the adjust lineup, right, how would this team look like in this upcoming season? So if we said best freaking lineup, Davis, the rookie, would be there. Autry's behind Graham. I think this isn't a bad part there. What I'm looking forward to, though, is Brian Thomas, the good veteran's going to get an opportunity to play here. He's going to help out a young QB or a veteran, depending on what we need. We're going to see some running backs battle it out this year. Defensively, I think we got some good guys all around the board, veterans in places that I would like. Look at Choice. Choice is going to get a chance to start, but more than likely here I can probably do this, have him play a little backup. We got a good veteran in Javon Bullard there. Flynn's there, so Hardesti's going to have to fight for some time. The D-line, I don't think there's any changes there as far as the O-line, the rookie Ellison getting involved. So, most of the guys that we picked up are going to play, which is kind of neat. I think that what that tells me there is that we drafted in a way that's going to give some guys an opportunity to just do their thing. We're going to see only one rookie, it looks like, in this that'll start in this preseason. Everybody else is going to have to wait it out and take their time and try to get it done. So, kind of cool. I like it. Who the heck is Cook? Shaq Cook? Oh, this is the guy with the crazy return. So, Shaq Cook would be the returner there. I don't think that's a bad move for us. Got Bartell here. He's a corner. Earl Bartell. So we'll try both those guys out and I'll watch offline, kind of see how these guys look. But man, we're not bad. I don't think we're bad at all. This gives our guys an opportunity to really step up and be ready to roll. It's going to be fun, man. I don't know how some of these teams are going to work out, but the Elk, we got $145 million in available cap space. So next season, I know I can probably go off a little bit more, spend a little bit more money to bring some other guys in, but we're just going to have to manage that cap over time and hopefully be able to bring in some of the better players. But that'll do it for us today, everybody. If you like what you saw, please drop a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and most importantly, subscribe to keep up with the series. I really appreciated everyone that stopped by, man. This was a good one. The Elk are coming. The Elk are rolling. Until next time, have a good one.